I know what I brought in, which is that I brought in 4 copies of Firewalker and 3 copies of Celestial Purge. Oh, I know what I took out. I took out these 4 copies of Lenonin Relic Warder because um, any enchantment that they would play would be probably red, which the Celestial Purger will do just fine. I probably took out. Uh, well, did I take out Bonehoard? No, I took out the Darksteel Axe because I needed creatures on the ground and not the equipment. But so let's see here. We have one, two, three, four of the Leonin relics I took out. I took out 5, 6. I know I took out this 7th one. And then then that's all I need, 7. And that will go and get me the core Firewalker and the Celestial Purges that I would like to basically have against almost any red deck. And so that was basically the switches that I made against Goblin Red. And I probably would make very similar switches against Red Black Vampires. Trying to think of some other red decks. I guess the other red decks that are very popular right now, I'll have to get into later, which are Pyromancer, Ascension, and Splinter Twin. They did have an extended round in the tournament that I won first place in, and it was an extended round that I lost against a 1-drop infect that basically featured Glistener Elf and the Blighted Agent, the unblockable one, and because you can face like 6 poison counters on turn 2 with the mutagenic growth and like a giant growth and a Glistener Elf. So very aggressive, very fast. Really, you don't need really any of the living weapons except for Flare Husk, because you really just need something to block that Glistener Elf, and you need some removal like Journey to Nowhere or possibly Arrest to take out that Blighted Agent. But really, Arrest is even a little bit slow. One thing I didn't. So what I did take out, I think I took out, Bonehoard, Sickle Shell, Sword of Vengeance, Darksteel Axe, the Apostle's Blessing. Because really I just wanted to get more drops in there, so I did not add the core duelist. I think I added all 4 copies of the core Firewalker just to get more creatures on the ground. But I really should have went and got the core duelist just to chump block, a Glistener Elf, really. So that's kind of what I probably would have taken out. I'm trying to remember what I took out. I honestly don't really remember, but this is kind of like what would go on my head. Just try to shore up weaknesses in my own deck, and again, nerf somebody else's deck, sort of like the Goblin Rush, where the core Firewalker is going to be awesome at nerfing red strategies. The next week, I played against a white weenie deck that used a lot of +1/+1 effects to white creatures, had a Hero Blade Hold in it, and also it featured a copy of Mirran Crusader in there. And so I lost the first match, I think, and then I won the second match. And in the second match, I think I took out a Sword of Vengeance again. Sword of Vengeance in this deck is not a very good matchup, to be quite honest about the Sword of Vengeance, just because this deck wants to be fast and Sword of Vengeance is really slow. So it's just not really that applicable. Um, Again, I don't really care if a lot of these creatures die. I don't think that any particular creature in here is so valuable that I need the Apostle's Blessing to protect it. I just do not need to protect it. I can get through damage for other ways. So I'm pretty sure I took out the Apostle's Blessing. What I did want to grab, since it has the Hero Blade Hold and also Mirran Crusader, is the 2 copies of creature removal, the Arrest. Um, I'm also quite willing to sort of trade. Uh, there wasn't a lot of creature exchange going on, so I would have been quite happy to exchange the Bonehoard for another Revoke Resistance. Just because with the Revoke Resistance, I can get rid of the enchantments that pump all white creatures. So that's probably what I would have looked at for that match. Against Pyromancer's Ascension, I won both matches against Pyromancer's Ascension, and obviously, again, with the red deck, I'm taking out cards that I don't need, like Bonehoard, Sword of Vengeance, the Darksteel Axe, and I'm going to the Apostle's Blessing, and I'm going to go and do whatever I can to basically put in uh, 4 copies of Core Firewalker and 3 copies of Celestial Purge. Now, the Lenonin Relic Warder, who I'd be quite willing to exchange with the Core Firewalker, does target enchantments, so it can target Pyromancer's Ascension. So I'm actually more likely in that event to go over here and take out either a Core Duelist or an Elite Vanguard, depending on how I want to deal with it. So that's what I'd be looking for Pyromancer's Ascension. And really, if I got lucky against any decks that I played against, it was definitely the Pyromancer Ascension decks. The 2 matches I played against Pyromancer Ascension. Um, I'd like to talk a little bit about like what's upcoming and basically the Pyro Twin, and also I did play a match against Splinter Twin Deceiver Exarch. And this deck is not very well equipped to handle Deceiver Exarch, because really the only thing it has at instant speed that can stop it is Revoke Resistance. I made a play mistake and I subbed in the Apostle's Blessing, but really against Splinter Twin, only your creature is going to go to the graveyard, so you might as well get rid of the Bonehoard. You're not going to be punching past anything, so Sword of Vengeance can come out. Um, Again, the Apostle's Blessing is not going to do you very much. Um, get rid of those 3 cards, and I made a play mistake and actually put in an Apostle's Blessing thinking I could target other creatures, but really the only thing this deck has that can stop a Deceiver Exarch Splinter Twin is this 4 copies of it's sorcery speed. No, it doesn't even stop that. Exile target artifact or enchantment. If it was instant speed, Splinter Twin needs to resolve again and again and again. It's not just one long stack that it can put more copies on the stack. It has to resolve to do its trick over again. And so if that was instant speed, you could exile target enchantment and stop it. But yeah, instant speed that's going to stop Splinter Twin. I don't think this deck has anything. Uh, I guess you can use the Celestial Purge to, because again, once the Splinter Twin resolves and you target it, they're only going to be able to do that trick once. They're only going to be able to Splinter Twin once because they have to let it resolve before they get the token to get the untap to. It takes quite a bit of resolutions to get Splinter Twin working. And so Celestial Purge, I guess, is the only thing in this deck that could stop Splinter Twin. And I'm definitely going to take out the Bonehoard, Sword Vengeance, and Apostle's Blessing if I'm facing, Splinter Twin or Pyro Twin. And the last deck that I faced was a Phyrexian Mana deck. This deck was quite a bit faster, just the main deck. I didn't need to do anything with it. And so I went and I got the cards that I need to beat the red deck. And again, if the deck is slow, not very many creatures are going to go to the graveyard. Grab the Bonehoard, take it out. Sword of Vengeance, Apostle's Blessing. If you're playing against a red deck, you can pretty much know that any enchantment, and especially many of the artifacts that are used for Phyrexian Mana, and that was the deck I played against, are going to be red. So the lean-in work is very similar to the Celestial Purges. You might as well make the swap. That way, Celestial Purges are going to have more targets. And yeah, so those were the thoughts going through my head when I made these switches, and that's what you take out. You basically, when you're looking at this, let's see if we can adjust the camera a little bit here. When you're looking at this deck, and you realize that really it wants to go fast. You don't really need a lot of late game options. Kimba really is, if you're only going to need Kimba if you need to generate a lot of creatures to swarm over, and that's like a late game kind of thing. This deck wants to be fast, um, so take out the things that kind of slow it down and let it do what it wants to do. Um, if you do need those late game options, yes, go ahead and keep them out. But for the most part, you can take out these cards, repeatedly to make room for more removal in your sideboard and more kind of nerfing cards. The core Firewalker is going to be very similar to the core Duelist in most circumstances, in the sense that, like, unless you're pumping up core Duelist significantly, he's not going to be much bigger than a 2/2. He'll be. I mean, double strike is nice, but it kind of depends on like what you take out to. I mean, if you equip a core Duelist with a Flare Husk, he's a 2/2 double striker basically, and that's most of what you're going to see, since that's most of the living weapons in your deck. Obviously, if you're playing against Pyromancer's Ascension, one of the main things I took away in the Pyromancer's Ascension was the Journey to Nowhere, because Pyromancer's Ascension doesn't really have creatures. So that's what I was looking for when I was making my sub-ins and sub-outs. And again, I'm not like the best at sideboarding. I just have a simple philosophy, which is try to shore up your deck weaknesses and nerf the other guy's deck with what you got in your sideboard. And it's a strategy that I stuck to, and I did manage to come out with wins on those. So I hope this addresses your question a little bit. And if you got any additional questions, let me know. Thank you.